I have been in my hardcore world for over 40,000 days. I have built everything from pirate islands, dwarven kingdoms, factories, and castles. But with 50,000 days approaching fast, I want to rebuild my world from the ground up. This is going to be an absolute ton of work, which is exactly why I'm calling this the Season 2 project. So please don't forget to leave a like because it really helps out the video, and consider subscribing if you guys want to see some more. And what better area to start this project than the Masa itself? As you guys can see, I've already begun getting rid of all the trees in the vicinity. It's feeling very bare throughout this area right now, and it's really weird. I will also be getting rid of this building right here, this building right here, revamping my base, getting rid of this building right here, and maybe getting rid of this building over here as well, just because I feel like they're a bit dated. This has been a project that I've been wanting to do for quite some time now, and I'm finally pulling the trigger on it, which is why I'm calling it the Season 2 project, because when I'm done with this, my world will never look the same again. So I'm going to walk through this one last time, take it all in, and then we'll start taking down all the trees in this area. It's starting to feel a little bit more barren here. I still want to get rid of this barn here, the mushroom guy, but I want to get rid of this guy next because it's feeling a little dated. Well, it feels very satisfying to remove that tree finally. I've been looking at that blossom tree now for months and regretting all of my decisions on that tree. Now, let's shift our focus over here towards this and this building right here and start removing these guys. Well, it's quite interesting not having this building here anymore, but I like it. Now time to take out this building over here, figure out what I want to do with this guy, and get rid of this one too. Wow. Well, it feels a lot more open now, having all those buildings completely removed. I will unfortunately be getting rid of these two guys, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. I'm going to be moving them elsewhere in the world. This guy's actually going to stay, but that leaves one more building that I need to take care of, and that is this guy right here. Those tents are going to stay in place. I do have a little bit of a problem, though. On the inside, we've got... Where is he at? This dude. So this dude, I gotta keep him. He's died once, but we can't let him die again. I'm thinking he's gonna live in that house just over here. So let's get to moving him now, and it looks like it's the perfect timing to move a zombie. We got him in there. Don't look at the interior because there isn't an interior in there, but I don't think he should be able to break his way out. I feel like the door is flipped the other way, but now that with that said and done, I got some llamas to move out of the pen, and we're gonna rip down the stables. I absolutely love the way that they hop around with fresh animations. Brings a smile to my face. I love the way that they're like kind of hopping around and stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna be moving them over here by Uncle's Bay because this area is gonna remain untouched for the time being. Maybe we'll do some additional changes to it in the future, but as of right now, this will just be kind of like up and out the way for now. And now with those guys out the way, it's time to rip down the stables. And now that we've got that out the way, I think it's time for phase 2 this operation. I'm going to start plopping down a bunch of really cool custom trees that I've been designing in creative. And we're going to leave ourselves a little bit of space so I can plop down some additional buildings along the way. And that is a little bit of what I have planned so far. These are just the first 2 trees. I know that there's a little bit of refining that needs to happen there, but I think that's a massive upgrade from what we had before, from trees I built like over 4 years ago. Dang. But there is a little bit of a challenge besides the resources that I'm going to need for all these trees. And that is the leaves that I'm actually have the ability to use out here. So you'll notice that oak, jungle, acacia, and which tree is this? The mangrove tree. These ones all die out here in the mesa. These ones though, the birch, the spruce, the azalea, and the flowering azalea are all leaves that we'll be able to actually use. The only issue with the azalea leaves is if we're looking right down at it, it's going to blend in a lot with the moss. Don't worry, I'm going to be toning back the moss quite a bit. I'm going to add in a lot more earthy tones with the coarse dirt, podzol, and other types of brown colors that are, I think it's going to really help balance this build quite a bit. And obviously add in elevations and structures along the way. But just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of a progress update on the first couple trees. I'm going to have to farm up a lot more resources. It's looking like, well, we might actually have a little bit of resources to kind of get things going right now. I think I might need some more dark oak. So I'm going to go collect up a little bit more of that, unfortunately. But that shouldn't be very rough. We'll just go spend a little bit of a trip over at the tree farm. So I'll spare you guys that kind of time lapse because I know chopping logs is not a whole lot of fun. And it's not that fun to either watch or do. Trust me. So I'll see you guys in a little bit of a progress update. Well, I'm just going to come out and say it. Wow. This is a completely different vibe. There is a lot of stuff I still need to be doing around here. There's a few more trees that I need to do, but I hate to say it, but I am officially out of logs. Not to mention, I am very, very poor on birch leaves. But what I will say is check out the vibe around here, huh? Extremely different. So hopefully you guys can now understand exactly what I meant by season 2, because yes, we're going to be rebuilding the entire world from the ground up. But I'm not done here just yet. But in the meantime, I want you guys to put down in the comments section between the next 3 builds that I'm going to be showcasing to you guys exactly what you guys would like to see me revamp next. First up, we have the Skulk Lands, where I would love to build a dead forest all around the factory and a little bit around the actual castle over here, making it look like it's been corroded and overtaken by all the skulk here, but also been slowly poisoned by the abandoned factory over here as well. Plus, I've got a very cool idea with what we can do with the new creaking mob. Next up, we have the islands over here, where we're going to be getting rid of all of the trees, all of the mushrooms, and connecting up all the pathways while rebuilding every single tree, just like we did in the Masa. I think this was going to look absolutely fantastic out here because we got 3 different variations. Over here, I would like to keep the blossom. Over here, probably get rid of the blossom so we can build in some more organic looking trees and actually connect up all the pathways over there. And over here, we can build ourselves some snowy trees. And lastly, we could revisit our bee and spider castle, removing all of the blossom trees, rebuilding them with custom trees, but not just custom trees, but also rebuilding them so we can have ourselves giant plants and giant flowers as well. So let me know out of those three, which one you guys want to see get done next, and we will revisit it in the next video. But until then, I've got a lot more work to be done here in the Masa, in which I think it's time for us to start incorporating a little bit more of our earthy tones. The only issue is, well, we don't have a whole lot of earthy tones to incorporate into the Masa just yet, especially on a scale that big. I have a little bit of Podzol, but it's definitely not going to be enough. So I'm going to have to kind of do a little bit of a resource gather before we take on phase 2. So what I think I'm going to do in order to get all that Podzol is I'm going to transform all of my moss in the Masa into Podzol, and then I'm going to basically rebuild it from the ground up. But another reason as to why we're here is this is the graveyard over here. I do plan to rebuild all of these trees to make some really cool dead trees, because I think this is a really nice, like, natural divide from the lush green environment that we've got going on over here into the dead environment, into the Skulllands that we have over there. But I also have a bit of a waterfall that connects down into the lower section of the Masa down here, where we have our horse stables and everything. Probably going to rebuild these mushrooms as well, but we'll see what happens there. But I need to connect this waterfall with this lake over here. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm going to be doing maybe a split where I come across and connect it over here. But I'm also going to come across and connect it up over here as well. So we're going to have a little bit of a double split river system going into the waterfall. Well, not only did I complete the waterfall, but I also built a bridge going over to the graveyard, which I think turned out fantastic. Now, there's quite a few things that need to be done in this area, but let me address your guys' attention over to something really cool. And that is the pathway. I have completely redone all the pathways. I've removed all the cobblestone from the pathways, and I have textured all of the pathways. I'm not going to say pathway one more time in this sentence, am I? Anyways, I think that this looks a heck of a lot more clean. Literally, all it is, dirt and coarse dirt. Not only do I think this is a great way to break up all of the moss, but I think it is a very good way to kind of add some flow to the Masa. So I want to build maybe a greenhouse over here or a shed, and then all the way over here, as we make our way around over by the Great Lake, I think like having a really cool like tower house right here would ultimately look really cool. Now, mind you, I've gotten quite a bit of things done in the Masa. Revamping for season 2 basically is what we're calling this project, the season 2 project. That doesn't mean I'm going to be able to get to everything. Right here, I want to have a ultimate grand waterfall. I would also really love to redo all of Harvest Hollows around here and do the plateau above here, connect the waterfall over there, but that won't be the focus of today's episode. The main focus is going to be everything that we've basically touched with trees here, which I know is absolutely insane, but we have barely scratched the surface. There is a lot more to come in this episode. This is a mega episode after all. I have still yet to place in any of the foliage. I've got more buildings to come for you guys. I need to also do some more lighting up, add some beacons, and a lot more other cool things for you guys. So I hope you guys have all been enjoying the episode as much as I have, because this entire project has been something that I have been waiting for such a long time, and it feels so good to get done. So why don't we go ahead and get all of the buildings done in this entire area, starting off with a nice little tower house going right here on the peninsula. And just like that, we have a few more houses to choose from. This guy being a shed that obviously needs to be connected up to the pathway here. And of course, we have ourselves a little bit of a tower house right here, which I adore, which is really cool that Link is kind of like going over here with his Ruby. But there's a couple more houses out this way that I need to show you guys. And looking at them from way over here, I think that they blend in beautifully with the environment, going with a little bit more of the bamboo and birch roof here. I think they go extremely well with not only the wheat, but also the tree as well. And I think that these look much better than what we had before, having the barn, the silo, and the windmill here. And I especially love it from this view down below, having the, I don't know what this is called, like a water tower, and then having the houses up there in the background look absolutely gorgeous. But let's take a trip down here a little bit more. I love the pathways. I love how cleaned up they look now. I think they look so much better than what they did before with all that cobblestone. But I think that might be the last of all the houses that we need to get done. So I think we got to go back to trees, back to pathing, and most importantly, foliage. And as we spoke about before, when it comes to foliage, we're going to have to focus a little bit more on their carrots, our wheat, our bamboo for color. We're going to be utilizing some more wheat, some potatoes, which will be really nice. I actually really love the way that potatoes look. And then, of course, this plethora of different greenery. Because remember, placing down any sort of grass, leaves, and other foliage won't work here because we are in the mesa. And to start things off, we're going to be placing down a bunch of fallen logs. We can't have a forest without having fallen logs. And for the most part, we're going to be using oak logs for this because I feel as if the oak log gives it a little bit more of that dried out feel. But don't worry, I'll also be sprinkling in a little bit of the spruce logs a little bit closer to where the water is found. Also just to keep a little bit of variety around the area. And now with just a quick little run to our sea pickle farm, I'm going to see if I remember how to activate this thing. I think it's just clicking that lever right there. And then clicking that lever right there. And we're in business. And it's farms like that as to why it's important to wear eye protection. But now that we have a bunch of fallen logs in the area, it's important to start dressing them up a little bit. So using sea pickles, a little bit of hanging moss, brings this place together real nice. Relax, relax. I already know you guys are going to the comments section right now asking me where the heck I got this from, because yes, it is beautiful and it's from Vanilla Tweaks. It's called hanging moss. But not only does the moss actually make this log look like it's been here for a substantial amount of time, but I think that the sea pickles make a really cool looking mushroom that's not going to overtake your entire forest, you know? And as for our spruce logs, we're just going to remove a couple logs and we will replace the logs with a little bit of podzol. And then we should just be able to plop down our brown mushrooms. And now we're just going to remove some of the moss around the actual stumps themselves, place in a little bit of dirt, and make it look a little bit more like it's been sitting here for quite some time. And it'll also help break up the moss along the way. Because although this is supposed to be the mossa, too much moss is not going to be a good time. And taking a look at our map here can really show you guys exactly what I mean. So looking at where our logs are located, you can see a little bit of the dirt around those logs. Not only is that really nice to break up the moss, but of course the pathways are as well. But in the process of doing all the bushes, I feel like flying through this channel right here. Over here, we got the seed vault. Over here, we have the mossa. I think a really cool lighthouse right here would look absolutely phenomenal. But maybe not just a lighthouse, but potentially some ships as well. But one thing I think we can all agree on is that this thing is a bit of an eyesore. So let's get this started. So I'm going to start off by just placing a bunch of dirt on the top of this rock over here so I can make a little bit of a foundation to work off of. You know, I'm beginning to run out of dirt here. I'm down to my last couple double chests, which means I've already gone through about 7,000 dirt for this project, which is ultimately okay because over here in the city district, I have a lot of flattening out to do. Like that entire mountain over there where I plan to build a construction site. And believe me, it is a massive mountain. And that's not to mention over here where I plan to put all the farming area to supply the city with food. So I don't think we're going to be worried about dirt for a while because I got lots of projects that I can easily get the dirt from. But anyways, let's get back to dirting. And now that we have all the dirt in place, you're probably looking at this like, Link, this looks weird. And yes, I'd have to agree with you. It definitely looks weird, but now at least we have a flat surface in order to build our lighthouse. So we're going to begin to build the lighthouse. I'm going to build the train up around the lighthouse. And then of course, around the sides here, we're going to create a little bit of an overhang and potentially some cool cliffs, caves. And of course, I got to link this pathway up to the lighthouse. Now take a look at that lighthouse. Isn't that beautiful? With the lighthouse here, I feel like this entire area is completely transforming. And speaking about transforming, this rock down here is looking really ugly. And it's got quite a few mobs. But this lighthouse got me thinking about something in particular. I really love the way that this tuff looks the whole way up. And it kind of reminds me of a certain base. Yeah, we might have to change up that base later on. Because honestly, this is very comparable to that. And if I want to get that rustic look, I mean, tuff can definitely make it happen. The only drawback is I don't really have any tuff to make it happen right now. But what I can make happen, a little bit more terraforming. And let's just say this is exactly why we needed to build a lighthouse here, so we don't get any more accidents like this. But as you guys can see, we now have a shipwreck over here. And of course, I've sprinkled in a few trees. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. I'm not 100% done right now. There's a couple more layers that I need to add in here. One of the big layers that we need to add in is going to be vegetation. You can tell there is no vegetation in this entire area. So I need to start sprinkling in like little patches of crops like potatoes and carrots and flowers and all that fun stuff. So let's start doing that now. And of course, with some downtime, I'll be farming up all the tuff I can get my hands on. And now that I wait for a couple of the crops to start growing in to see if I actually like it, I think it's time to do something that's going to be extremely bittersweet, and that is rebuild my base. Wow. Well, I never thought I'd ever see the day that we got a complete base revamp, but now look at us. Anyways, from down here, I would like to have a couple trees coming out the canopy, but from the other side, I think that this blends in a lot better with the rest of the forest around us. It's a lot more weathered. It looks like it's been here for a really long time, which is exactly what I'm going for. But the lore behind my base is that we're breathing life back into the mesa. So we want this to be the epicenter of where all the life came from. So where does life come from? Water. And what do I have inside of the base so far? Well, I've got quite a bit of water. So I've got some ponds going through here. This is going to lead into my actual base down below. And then it leads right into the waterfall that cascades off the front. But as I said, I would like to get some trees like coming out of the canopy because I feel like this roof is a little bit too pristine for this build. But before we add up all the trees, let me show you guys a little bit of the foliage I have around here. So I've set up a couple wagons, wheelbarrows, which I think are really nice. And you guys can see the crops are starting to grow in here, which is adding a little bit of more color to this area. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm loving the way that this mesa is looking so far. Looking at this from this angle, you would never know that this is a mesa. I think it's gone through an incredible transformation, but don't worry. There's a lot more to come. We're barely even getting started. I've started mapping out some areas where I want to put some little campsites and maybe some tents, kind of like what I have over in this area over here, where we have a nice wagon. We have a couple tents set up here. We've got a horse, of course. We're going to have to start putting horses up in our other horse stable up there. I don't know if this guy has a name. Oh, it doesn't, but I do have a horse over here named Obsidian. We'll have to move Obsidian over here to our new horse stables. And of course, we're gonna probably got to carry on down here and start doing a little bit more tidying up. And I need to get rid of that anchor too. But I should probably head back to work. Like I said, I want to add in some trees to break up the roof line of the base, have some trees on the inside, and kind of make it look a little bit more overgrown, like it is the epicenter of where all the life comes from here. And I think it's about time that we start taking on some ponds and some rivers. I think there's some areas that could greatly benefit from little bits of ponds, maybe having a pond cascading all the way down here, underneath here, and maybe connecting over to a pond over here, I think would be really cool. And then potentially, whoops, I'm just gonna go ahead and just quickly fix that like nothing even happened. But before I get into the next segment of today's video, if you guys are liking the video so far and want to watch some more, every single Saturday I come out with a brand new episode. So please leave a like on the video because it really helps out the algorithm. And consider subscribing, especially if you want to see more builds like this in the future. You know, it feels absolutely unreal to walk through the mesa and take it all in. 4 years later, I stood here and I looked back at my base with a dream to make the mesa into a lush green landscape. And I think I have done just that. There is quite a bit of things to take in. I have signs to take us out to the Skulllands and the farmlands. And then, of course, the main base right here. But as we walk through the mesa, it is almost next to impossible to know that this used to be a wooded badlands and a badlands throughout. It's absolutely insane that this used to be a mesa. Looking around, you would never recognize it as such. What I can say right now is that we have a lot that we have already added in just this one episode, and I'm looking forward to the future of the mesa. I want to show you guys a little bit of all the hard work that I've put into this area. Obviously, we've built lighthouses, we've built shipwrecks, and of course, I want to carry this project on for bigger and better things in the future. Let me know what your guys' favorite part of the mesa is so far. If you guys like the general vibe, if you guys like the houses or things to come. But speaking of things to come, Minecraft has just announced so many very cool things coming to Minecraft, such as a new bush variant, one with fireflies, one without, and I think we'll be able to implement it here in the mesa as long as it doesn't lose its color. But that brings me over here to our next segment. So obviously, there's a lot of areas around here that need to be completed, and I could be doing this all year long, and I would never be satisfied. So I need your guys' help. I absolutely love the Great Lakes, but the Great Lake has a little bit of an issue. It has nowhere to go. Now, I love this tree over here, and I think this area across the lake has a lot of potential, but more importantly, over here, I think that this is just screaming to be completely revamped into the Great Waterfall coming from the Great Lake itself. And I think that this area in particular would be absolutely gorgeous to completely terraform. So I'm calling on you guys. If this video gets over 1,000 likes, this entire area, which not only includes the entirety of over there where the Great Falls will take place, it will be this upper plateau over here, and I will completely rebuild and expand Harvest Hollows. And as you guys can see, I've basically stopped the terraforming right here. I have the lily pads. I didn't even do any of the dirt right here because just across the way is Harvest Hollows. The pathways need to be cleaned up. There's quite a bit of work to be done over there. So like I said, if you guys want to see the continuation of the mesa project, please leave a like on the video. Consider subscribing if you guys want to see some more. But that isn't all. Where do you guys want to see me go next? And trust me, there are a lot of places I would love to go to next. So if you guys haven't done so already, check out my 40,000 day parkour world tour so you guys can see all of the cool builds I have throughout this world and the potential of revamping this area for season 2. Because season 2 to me means a rebirth of season 1, and I think looking at this entire masa over here, I think I have achieved just that. You would never know that this is season 1. This is a complete facelift, and I want to continue on with that. Because with the season 2 project, the sky is the limit. And I really mean that because I literally can't build any higher than this because I'm at like y equals, well, I'm just below. Well, you get it. But anyways, that brings me over here to my next big build. I'm actually currently going to be building a super mega volcano right outside the Skull Clans with the complete revamp of the Masa just over here. That's going to have a ton of very cool dragons, taking inspiration from Skyrim and from Ark Survival Evolved, especially Ragnarok map. So if you guys are very curious on how this whole project is going to come to be, well, you know where to find me, over on Twitch. Or you guys can watch my videos, like I said, every single Saturday, where I do recaps of all of my live streams in a Let's Play format. But that brings me back in behind of where our volcano is going to be, which is Slimeville. And Slimeville to me is a very special home, has a very special place in my heart, because Slimeville is where I learned how to build. But I think it's almost time that I do say it, but Slimeville needs a massive facelift. And it's going to look very out of place if I've got a giant volcano behind us with dragons coming out. So let's just say Slimeville might be scorched earth in the future. But that is not all. Some of you guys may notice that my arm looks a little bit different. And that's because this wouldn't be season 2 unless I had a brand new skin to show you guys. So let's take off all of our armor. Take a look at my character here. Look at how dapper I look. I absolutely love my new skin. So massive shout out to Mandolin for making it for me because I absolutely love it. But with that all said and done, let's do a quick little recap on everything that we have done. And let's look back at what things used to look like at the very beginning of today's episode. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this has been a pretty insane transformation. It doesn't even look like it's comparable at this point. But there is one more thing that I have to go over. There are 2 big trees that I built in this big update, and that was because of a charity event I did over on my Twitch channel for Earth Alliance out in Uganda, building up rivers, cleaning up rivers, and doing all that fun stuff. But I just want to say a massive thank you to Trinity. This is your tree right here. I think it looks absolutely gorgeous, and I hope you like it. And of course, you got yourself a little miniature bench. So I appreciate the support for Women's Earth Alliance. Thank you. There is one more person that I need to shout out, and that is Mel or Malika. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly, but I built you a giant autumn tree for the charity event as well. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for the massive support and, of course, raising money for a great cause. But I don't know about you guys, but I'm never going to get tired of walking through this new forest. There is plenty of space to grow. As I said, we have some pretty big updates coming over to Minecraft here very soon, which I'm very excited about. All kinds of new plants, all kinds of new foliage, and of course, new animals, because you already know I need some wildlife out here. All I have right now are all the wolves. So I would love to get all of the new cows, pigs, and chickens, of course, out here. So we're going to be building barns, chicken coops, and a lot more in the future. So hopefully you guys are as excited for that as much as I am. But unfortunately, I think that is all the time that we're going to have for today's video. Hope to see you guys in the next video. Remember, every single Saturday, I put out a brand new episode. And of course, I'm live on Twitch every single day. So I hope to see you guys out here in the future. But until next time, I hope you guys all have yourself a wonderful day. And Twitch thinks you guys should watch this video. And by Twitch, I mean YouTube. Whoops.